Strings have actions known as methods. We will review a few of the methods associated with strings that are a part of the built-in Java libraries and ones that you will find especially useful as you begin to work with strings. One of those methods is the equals method. The equals method returns a Boolean answer of true if the two strings being compared are identical, or it returns false if the two strings differ in any way. The equals method is case sensitive, so username 1 and username 2 shown on the screen are not equal. You want to be careful though. Never use the equality operator, the two equal signs put together, to compare strings. The equality operator is used to compare numeric values, and when used with strings, it compares whether or not the two string references point to the same object, meaning that it looks to see if the two object references are pointing to the same memory location on the computer. Take a moment to study the strings on the screen. The not operator, the exclamation point, can be used with the equals method to determine if two strings are not equal to each other. If we take a look at the code on the screen, we can see that we have two strings, pet1, which has the value of cat, and pet2, which has the value of dog. When we do our system.out.println, we're saying not pet1 equals pet2. What will be printed is true because cat is not equal to dog. That statement is true. The compare-to method. The second way to compare two strings is to use the compare-to method. Instead of returning an answer that is a Boolean, like the equals method did, the compare-to method returns an integer. The result of the compare-to method is a positive number, a negative number, or 0. This integer describes how the two strings are ordered lexicographically. Lexicographically is a case-sensitive ordering of words similar to a dictionary, but it uses the Unicode code of each character. The method returns a negative number if string 1 comes before string 2, a positive number if string 1 comes after string 2, and a 0 if the two strings are identical. Let's look at some examples. We have three strings. String 1 has the value hello, string 2 has the value hello, and string 3 has the value kitty. We're going to use the compare-to method to compare those strings to each other. We can see that when we compare string 1 to string 2, we get a 0 because their values are identical, exactly the same, including case. When we compare string 1 to string 3, we get a negative number when string 1 comes before string 3. When we compare string 3 to string 1, the answer is a positive number when string 1 comes after string 3. The length method. The length method returns the number of characters in the specified string, including spaces and any special characters like an apostrophe, a comma, or even the period at the end of the string. So in our example here, we have a string called tweet that contains the value, I'm going to rock this APCS exam. If we want to know how many characters are in tweet, we would put the name of the string, tweet.length, and run the length method on tweet. And we can store the answer into a variable like we did here, int return. We're going to store it in the return variable. So tweet.length returns 34 because if I count up all the characters from the I to the period, there are 34 of them. String Pokemon card equals new string. We've created a new string called Pokemon card, but we haven't given it any characters. So technically, Pokemon.length is going to return 0. It is a string, a valid string, but it contains 0 characters. In this example here, we have declared Pokemon card as a string, but we haven't actually made a string yet. We've just basically declared our intent. Hey, I'm going to make a string and I'm going to call it Pokemon card, but we haven't actually made the string yet. So when we run .length on Pokemon card, we get an error message known as a null pointer exception because Pokemon card right now on the screen is a null string. Means I've declared my intention, but I didn't actually I have not constructed that string object yet. Index of method. When you're working with the index of a string, it's very important that you remember that Java is a zero index language, which means its index positions start at 0 and not 1. That's very important when you're looking at index positions. To find if a string contains a specific character or group of characters, you can use the index of method. It searches the string, and if it locates what you're looking for, it returns the index of its location. So on this example right here, we have declared and initialized the string sport, and it contains the value soccer. When I run index of on sport, I can look for a specific character. In my first example, I've got sport.index of E. It's going to search the word soccer, the string soccer, and if it can locate the E, it's going to return the index position of E, which is 4. The S is at 0, O is at 1, C is at 2, C is at 3, E is at 4. When I run sport.index of and I look for a C, we notice that there's 2 C's. It's going to return the first instance of C, which happens to be at index position 2. In this example, sport.index of I, we're looking for a character that we can visually see is not contained within the value of sport. The word soccer does not have an I. So when we do sport.index of and we look for I, what gets returned is -1. -1 is just the default value saying, hey, you looked for an I, this string doesn't have an I. -1, it doesn't exist. You can also find the index of a string inside of a string. So in the example, find me equals CE, what we're doing, sport.index of find me contains the character CE. So we're going to go into sport and we're going to look for CE. And CE starts at index position 3. Remember that the S is at 0, the O is at 1, and the first C starts at index position 2, but the second C that's connected to the E is at index position 3. Substring method is what's known as an overloaded method, which means there are multiple ways that we can use the substring method. The substring method is used to extract a specific character or group of characters from a string. The substring method, as I said before, is overloaded, meaning that there is more than one version of the method. So substring int index. This starts extracting at a particular index position and stops extracting when it reaches the last character in the string. So you're going to get from everything from whatever index you indicated in the parameter list of substring to the very end. You get all those characters. The second way that we can use substring is by giving it a start and a stop index position. So substring int index, first index, comma, int second index gives us a start and a stop. It starts extracting at first index and stops extracting at second index -1, which means it's not actually going to give me that second index. It's just going to give it everything right before that second index. So let's look at some examples. Extract every character starting at a specified index from a string. So the string I'm going to be working with is called motto. And within motto, we have the value, may the force be with you. When we run substring on motto, we're going to do the first version of substring, where we just give it a single index position, which we gave was 14. So your compiler goes in and it says, okay, let me look at all the index positions and figure out where 14 is at. Remember, the capital M in May starts at index position 0. We go along, all the way to index position 4, which is the letter B in the word B, and it gives me all the way to the end. So it's going to return be with you, period. The second way that we looked at substring was when we're going to have a start and a stop position. One thing we can do that is we can extract a single character from a string. Still using our motto string, this time we're going to go motto.substring 2, 3. We've got a start position, we have a stop position, but remember the stop position is not inclusive, it's exclusive. So we're not going to actually get the character at index position 3. We're going to get the character that's at index position 3 minus 1, which in this case happens to be 2. That's a single character. It's the character that's at index position 2, which is the Y in May. We can extract 2 characters from a string, like we see here on the screen. Again, we're working with the string motto. So motto.substring 5, 7, 5 is the starting place, that's inclusive. 7 is the stopping point, that's exclusive. So what gets returned is the characters that are at index position 5 and 6. And then may the force be with you, that is the H and the E that's in the word the. We could extract a single word from a string. In this case, we're looking to extract the word force. So we do motto.substring, and the word force happened to start at index position 8, and it ends at index position 12, but we want to go one more because we actually want the E in force. If I did 8, 12, I would have gotten FORC, but I also want to include the E, so I want to go one beyond my stopping point. Sometimes we might do what's known as a logic error, and we might actually use a number for an index position that doesn't make any sense. For example, in this one right here, it says motto.substring 72. Well, we know there's not 72 characters, and may the force be with you. That creates what's known as a string index out of bounds exception error, and BlueJ will throw that particular error. Here's a new method, lowercase method. The lowercase method returns a new string that is the same as this string, except all uppercase letters are changed to lowercase letters. So here we have declared and initialized a string called favTeacher, and the value of favTeacher is Mrs. Rush is my favorite teacher. Why, thank you. We are going to print out favTeacher.lowercase. So it's going to take the string, Mrs. Rush is my favorite teacher, and it's going to convert all the characters to lowercase, as shown in the printed line. We can do the opposite by using the uppercase method. This returns a new string that is the same as this string, except all lowercase letters are changed to uppercase letters. Again, we're going to use the favTeacher string. We'll do favTeacher.toUppercase. Again, it's going to print out Mrs. Rush is my favorite teacher, but all the characters are now in uppercase. Let's do a little review. Consider the following code segment. I declare and initialize a new string that contains the value welcome. I declare and initialize another string that contains the value home. Now I'm going to use what's known as a concatenation operator. I'm going to take another string, and I'm going to concatenate to that the string literal hello. What is the value of new string? Take a moment, look at your answer choices. You may pause this video if you need more time. The correct answer is option A, home hello. So the value of another string was home, no spaces. To that we concatenated hello, no spaces, runs the 2 strings together, and so new string wipes out the word welcome, and it contains the value home hello. Let's do one more. Which of the following returns the last character of the string stir? We don't need to know what's in stir in order to figure this one out. Because we don't know what is contained within stir, we can actually run the length method on stir. So stir.length -1, because say stir had the word the. Well, there's 3 characters, but the index positions go 0 to 2. So we can do option D, stir.substring stir.length -1, and it will return the very last character, no matter what that character is in stir. Hope this video helped.